This is no longer the search for missing children. This is the search for killers.
This stretches just so beyond what anyone could imagine.
Breaking news in the case against Doomsday Prophet Chad Daybell.
Prosecutors say they will seek the death penalty against him.
Investigators have recovered human remains at Chad Daybell's residence.
There's no way, Logan. I could never come up with this.
Lori was his follower. Chad Daybell's the prophet.
Chad had a vision, plagues and foreign troops coming to the soil.
Will his wife, Lori Daybell, turn on him?
It's just so hard to know where the truth ends.
All eyes on this Idaho trial.
Big ruling by the judge. The venue changed.
The further away you can get from the scene of the alleged incident, the better off you are.
Think about all the people that had to die and disappear. It's the Doomsday Prophet Chad Daybell on trial. And now it's not just the Doomsday Prophet Chad Daybell. His wife, Lori Daybell, formerly Lori Vallow, formerly Lori Ryan, and I think 2 or 3 other names. She's now set for trial as well. She was arraigned. Let's take a look at what happened inside the courtroom.
Having entered those not guilty pleas, then, Mr. Archibald, we'd like to discuss the setting of trial in this case. As I'm sure you're aware, there's a companion case that is already scheduled for a trial to start on January 9th. The court's made some previous rulings that apply to this case and were set in that case as well, indicating that these cases would be tried in a joint trial. In order to have your client appear for that trial date, that would require her to go outside of the time frame for speedy trial. Have you discussed with your client her speedy trial rights and whether she intends to waive those to have the trial as now set, or what's your plan on the trial setting?
Yes, Your Honor, we have discussed it. She does not intend to waive her right to a speedy trial.
All right, that's a big issue, right? So you got Lori Daybell charged in the same case with Chad Daybell. He has a trial date, but she doesn't waive her speedy trial date. So now take a look at the schedule that is set right now for the cases against the Doomsday couple. Lori, because of the speedy trial, has a date of October 11th this year, 2022. Chad's trial date, January 9th, 2023. Now, there's a new twist now. The East Idaho News is reporting tonight that Lori apparently has reviewed with counsel the court's order denying Chad Daybell's request for separate trials. She has instructed her attorneys not to file a request for separate trials. Now I'm even more confused. I need the think tank. Let's bring them back in. Renee Hill, Carmen Rowe, Molly Palmer. Molly, I'm trying to figure out how this is going to be reconciled here. If she says she doesn't want a separate trial, but she's not waiving speedy trial, that means they've got to try her October 11th. So they're going to have separate trials, right? I mean, speedy trial is the one thing that, can the judge override it? Can anyone override it if it's not waived?
No, so speedy trial is a right, it's tied to our constitutional rights, and so that's what the judge is focused on. And certainly if they had set these as trials to be jointly tried together, she could have asked for severance. She could have asked and argued that there's a reason that they should be tried separately, and the judge could deny that. I mean, severance is often hard to win as a defense attorney wanting a trial separate from your co-defendant, but speedy trial is speedy trial. And unless her attorneys ask for a motion, and ask to extend the time through a motion, I think they're going to go ahead and try this case within that very short time frame, and we'll see it here on Court TV in October.
This is, Carmen, so what are your thoughts, Carmen, about separate versus together? If Lori goes first by herself, is that a better situation for her? Is that a worse situation?
Well, Vinny, like Molly said, severance is going to benefit both of these defendants. So I think it was a tactical
Tell us
move.
why. Tell us why it benefits these defendants.
they're going to point the finger at the other. And when you don't have the other sitting right next to you and all of their laundry coming out in the middle of your trial, you have a benefit, and they're going to take advantage of it. And so from the very beginning, Chad tried to get away from her, and we thought maybe because she was found incompetent, he was going to move forward and actually have a trial without her. Wouldn't that be great? And then, alas, she becomes competent. So then we're thinking, okay, they're going to have to go together. And here's this move that her lawyers make where they're going to force the state to trial on a death penalty case real quick. I mean, we don't do trials this fast on death penalty cases in Houston ever. So one, they're putting the state to their evidence in a very short period of time, and they are doing it alone without their co-defendant. I think this is a great tactical advantage. And if it happens in October, you know, this is her best opportunity going into this trial.
But then on the other hand, Renee Hill, she says, I don't want a separate trial. But so if she says I don't want a separate trial, but I don't want to waive my speedy trial, then she's going to get a separate trial.
Absolutely. And just like Carmen and Molly have said, this is a constitutional issue as to whether or not she's going to waive her speedy trial. And she has already indicated that she will not do that. So her attorneys are going to have to explain to her that although you may want to have a trial together with Chad, you're not going to have that trial. You've already refused to waive. The court has set this date down for trial, and that's the date that it should be going. I don't think that it will change at this point since they've already, broached this issue. And like Molly said, unless there are some additional motions that are filed to extend the time, I think that they are going to have separate trials. Her attorneys will be very happy about it. And I thought as soon as you indicated that she refused to waive, that was going up right away. She's pointing the finger at him. And if you look at her demeanor now, her demeanor has changed so much since she has become competent. She's not as bubbly and smiling and happy as she was before. And I think that now she's really understanding how serious this is. And I think that that might change her opinion about her last husband.
And I have one other theory about the speedy trial. She wants to get it in before the end of the world because it's coming. Oh, it's coming.